Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today, and we're really excited. This is the first time we're sharing this work with anyone outside of people that walk along the path and have stared at us for a moment, so we're really excited to share it with you today. My son's really excited too, which is awesome. My name is Christine Suarez. I'm a Santa Monica-based dance theater artist, and I've been in residency here for the past 2 months. And to begin today, I want to take you on a short walk. I want to try to allow you to experience the scope of this space that we've been in. So as we walk, I encourage you to take things in with your eyes, with your ears, with your nose. We do pass by the bathroom over on the side, so you will smell that. But also with your skin and with your feet as we walk. So please follow me. I should have one of those like little flags. But just follow me, please. Oh, you know what? I have a Oh, sure. Yeah.
I'm really taking this in.
You really taking it in?
Yeah, all it feels like feet. Wait.
Rebecca Hernandez and McDowell. We've been making a work together inspired by the book of Ruth. And I want to take this moment to tell you my Cliff Notes version of the book of Ruth. Now, in the Christian canon, the book of Ruth is considered a history book. And it's the 8th book in the Old Testament. And in the Jewish canon, it's a part of the Torah. And it's read during, and pardon me if I don't say the Hebrew word right, I've tried. Shavuot. Very good. Thank you. I've been coached. And that is the holiday celebrating the anniversary of when God gave the Israelites the Torah. And this book is only 4 chapters long. It's a story of 2 women, Naomi and Ruth. Now, Naomi was an Israelite who flees a famine in Bethlehem with her husband and 2 sons by immigrating to a country called Moab. And while in Moab, her husband dies and her 2 sons die. But before her sons die, her sons marry 2 Moab women. So after her sons die, she's heartbroken, and she decides that she's going to return to her homeland. And with love in her heart for her daughters-in-law, she says to them, go back to your family and remarry. So one of them reluctantly leaves, and her name is Orpah. The other one refuses to leave. Her name is Ruth. Now Ruth says to Naomi, and I'm quoting here, do not urge me to turn my back on you. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your God will be my God, and your people my people. When you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord be ever so severely, should even death separate you and me. It's pretty intense, isn't it? I mean, have any of you felt that way towards your mother-in-law? So together, they travel to Bethlehem. And when they get there, the people look at Naomi and they say, can this be Naomi? And Naomi says, do not call me Naomi, which means pleasant. Call me Mara, which means bitter, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter. I left full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi? The Lord has afflicted me. The Almighty has brought misfortune upon me. So when they arrive in Bethlehem, it's the time of the harvest. And Naomi, in order to support, Ruth decides in order to support her family that she's going to assert the right of the poor and glean the leftovers of the harvest. Now she ends up on a field owned by a man named Boaz. Now Boaz is very kind to her, despite the fact that she's a foreigner. And he has heard about her loyalty to her mother-in-law, and he allows her to glean in the fields until the harvest is over. Now Boaz happens to be a close kinsman of Naomi's deceased husband. Now under Levirate law, the close kinsman has the right to marry Ruth in order to carry on his inheritance. So with that in mind, Naomi urges Ruth to do something, and I'm going to paraphrase here for a second. So she says, hey, Ruthie girl, how about you put on some nice clothes and some nice perfume, and you head on down to the threshing floor where Boaz sleeps. And when you get there, uncover his feet, which we think is code for something else, and lie down. And he will, and I quote, he will tell you what to do. And Ruth says, okay, cool, I'll do it. I can go for that. And needless to say, it's really unusual for a woman to confront a man in this way. So Boaz, that night, when she arrives at the threshing floor, happens to be pretty drunk. But luckily, He's a stand-up guy. And he calls Ruth a virtuous woman. And he says that he's going to do the honorable thing and marry her. Except he needs to check with another kinsman who's actually first in line to be what the so-called guardian redeemer. He also says to her that no one must know that a woman came to the threshing floor. And he doesn't allow her to return to her mother-in-law empty-handed. He gives her some wheat and barley to take home, which I think is pretty nice. So the next day, Boaz meets with his closer kinsman. Now the closer kinsman has the right to purchase Naomi's husband and son's property and thus acquire Ruth as a wife. But he can't do it because it jeopardizes his own inheritance. So Boaz is allowed to be the guardian redeemer, and Boaz takes his sandal to seal the deal. Boaz marries Ruth. Ruth has a son. The son they name Obed. And Obed becomes the father of Jesse. And Jesse becomes the father of, who knows? King David. So I invite you all now to please grab a chair from over there. And we're going to come in here and please line up your chairs along this wall of the space. In addition to being an artist in residence here at 1450 Ocean, I'm also an artist in residence with an organization called Spark and Echo. And Spark and Echo Arts is a New York-based organization that commissions artists to create work inspired by biblical passages. And so I was just talking earlier about looking through, like finding what inspires me. And the book of Ruth drew me in because of the contrast between these two women. So you have Ruth, who is so full of faith and loyalty and love and hope. And then you have Naomi, who is also full of love, but she's forsaken and embittered. I mean, she feels like God has turned against her. And that's what I relate to. I mean, it's true. For those of you who know me, you're like, this is... I mean, there have been long periods in my life where I really wanted people to call me bitter. Yet, at the same time, I'm inspired by Ruth. Ruth emerges in tension with her culture. She marries outside of her own people. She disavows solidarity with her family. She abandons her national identity.
Where are you going?
And she rejects her religious affiliation. And she does something which I believe is one of the most radical things that happens in all of the biblical epic of Israel. She reverses sexual allegiance. She's a young woman, and she commits herself to an old woman in a world where life depended upon men. So how we first started to engage with this material was through a series of paintings, which are all right up here. And many artists have tried to capture this moment where Ruth converts, where she devotes herself to Naomi. And when we first started to look at these paintings and gather them together, the first thing we noticed was that many of the artists portrayed two Middle Eastern women as white. So that was the first thing we noticed. And then we set that aside, and then we started to really take in the emotions that the artists were trying to capture in these paintings. And that's where we started. And we started simply by embodying these images. The other daughter-in-law who actually left and didn't stay, well, she enters into these paintings too. In this one, she looks like this. For those of you this side, she's like this. And in this next one, she's like this.
We also like these group of abstract expressionistic paintings, like this one. We had a lot of discussions about how these two women reconfigured the way that women were supposed to behave. They reconfigured what family could look like.
We wondered about the nature of their relationship. Mother, daughter, sister, lovers. Regardless, these women shrewdly work the system to guarantee their security.
Not only to be secure, but to thrive, and to eventually secure their livelihood with the birth of a son. Now this next section, we created some movement inspired by folk dances. And we performed them in unison around in circular patterns. And we did that to really try to choreographically capture how these two women function within their culture, their society. But unfortunately, this material isn't quite ready for a public viewing. And so let's just take a quick moment, close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a rigorous, perfectly unison folk dance circularly happening, but with some postmodern flair to it. And then you can open your eyes. Oh my gosh, we're at the last section of the piece that we're going to share with you today. Thank you for going along with this. And this last section is a series of solos. And these solos, we created solo scores, which is blatantly listed if you, that's the score. And it allows each of us the opportunity to kind of drop into each of these women's characteristics of them. So my solo is first, because I'm a choreographer. No, just kidding. So we can start. Embittered widow.
Matriarch. Faithfulness. Pause.
Pause. Queers the system.
Brave convert.
Queers the system.
Pause. Transformation.
Thank you so much for coming. Beautiful. We honor any feedback that you may have to us. You can speak to us afterward, you can write it to me, whatever. We appreciate your thoughts. And I also want to take a brief moment to really thank the Division of Cultural Affairs of the City of Santa Monica and for having me here. It's been such a gift to really be, wow, she's going really fast right now, to really be an artist every day, you know, and come to this studio and make the work. And Naomi, who isn't in here, but y'all can tell her that I thanked her. And again, thank you.